Have you ever found yourself looking across the dinner table at your partner and thinking, where did the spark go? Maybe the two of you used to laugh until your sides hurt, or maybe you'd hold hands just walking down the street. But now, after decades of life together, things feel a little quieter, a little more routine. It doesn't mean the love is gone. It just means the flame might need a little more tending. And the beautiful truth is, no matter your age, romance doesn't expire. In fact, after 60, it can grow deeper, warmer, and even more exciting than when you were young. It just takes a gentle nudge, a willingness to step forward together, and a reminder that love is a living thing. It thrives when we give it attention. That's what today's conversation is all about. We're going to explore 5 simple, yet powerful ways to rekindle romance after 60. This isn't about grand gestures like whisking someone off to Paris, though, if you want to. Why not? This is about real, everyday steps that make your partner feel cherished, seen, and connected. Because the truth is, romance at this stage of life isn't about fireworks every night. It's about warmth, closeness, and joy. And those are things you can start creating again right now. Let's begin with something so simple, yet often forgotten: intentional quality time. You might think, but we already spend every day together. Well, the question isn't how much time you spend under the same roof. It's about how you spend it. Think about the difference between sitting in the same room while the television runs and sitting together, talking, listening, and laughing. When was the last time you put down the phone, turned off the news, and simply gave your partner your full attention? Romance is fueled not by the clock, but by presence. Even something as small as 15 minutes every evening, just the two of you sitting with a cup of tea, looking each other in the eye and asking, "How was your day?" That can spark more intimacy than hours of silent coexistence. Remember those long talks you used to have when you were dating? Recreate that. It may feel awkward at first, but the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And you'll notice your partner leaning in, opening up, and reconnecting in ways you both may have been missing. Quality time doesn't need to be complicated. You could take a short walk together after dinner, visit a favorite coffee shop, or even try cooking a new recipe side by side. It's less about the activity itself and more about the attention you bring to each other. These small moments, when strung together, begin to build a new rhythm, a rhythm that says, "You still matter to me. I still want to know you." Because here's the truth: we never fully finish discovering the person we love. There are always stories, dreams, and feelings waiting to be shared if we simply take the time to listen. Once you start giving more of that intentional attention, the next step flows naturally, and it's all about appreciation. When couples have been together for years, it's easy to fall into the habit of assuming your partner just knows how you feel. Maybe you think, well, of course they know I love them. We've been married 40 years. But love unspoken often feels like love forgotten. Expressing gratitude, noticing the little things, and saying them out loud can breathe fresh life into your relationship. Think about it. When was the last time you told your partner, "I really appreciate how you always make sure the bills are paid on time," or "Thank you for making dinner tonight. It was delicious"? These words, simple as they are, remind your partner they're seen and valued. And when someone feels valued, their heart softens, and romance naturally finds its way back in. Appreciation doesn't always have to be verbal. Sometimes it's a gentle touch on the arm, a smile across the room, or even writing a little note and leaving it on the pillow. I know couples who've been married for decades and still write each other sticky notes that say things like, "You make my mornings brighter," or "Can't wait to see your smile tonight." It may sound small, even silly, but those little reminders build a bridge between everyday life and the tenderness of romance. It's easy to underestimate how powerful these gestures can be, but if you've ever received one yourself, you know the lift it brings to your heart. There's also something transformative about speaking appreciation in front of others. Imagine you're at a family gathering, and instead of just letting things roll by, you say, I'm really grateful to have such a thoughtful partner. He's the reason our grandkids always have their favorite snacks here. Not only does your partner hear it, but the whole family sees the love you're affirming. And what happens then? Your partner feels proud, respected, and loved, and that glow stays with them long after the moment has passed. Now here's the wonderful part. Quality time and appreciation feed into each other. When you spend time together, you notice more things to appreciate. And when you express appreciation, your partner feels more excited to spend quality time with you. It creates a beautiful cycle of connection, warmth, and affection that steadily rekindles the flame you might have thought had dimmed. Love, after all, is less about the dramatic highs and more about the consistent, everyday acts that say, I choose you, again and again. As we move forward, we're going to dive into another way to refresh romance in this golden stage of life, one that builds on what we've already started and takes the connection even deeper. When you start giving more of your time and words of appreciation, something shifts inside both of you. Suddenly, the air feels lighter and the connection feels closer. And from that closeness comes the perfect opportunity to reintroduce a little bit of fun and adventure back into your relationship. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking at my age. Adventure means finding the TV remote before my show starts. But hear me out. Fun and adventure don't have to mean climbing mountains or bungee jumping off bridges. It simply means breaking out of the same old routine and trying something new. Side by side, think about the routines you and your partner have built over the years. Maybe it's breakfast at the same table, grocery shopping on Tuesdays, or watching the same shows in the evening. Routines are comfortable, but too much comfort can smother excitement. So what if, just once in a while, you swap the ordinary for something fresh? It could be as simple as taking a day trip to a town you've never explored, dancing in the living room to your favorite old songs, or signing up for a cooking class together. These little adventures spark curiosity and remind you both that life still has surprises waiting. One couple I know, both in their 70s, decided to start a date jar. They wrote down small, affordable ideas on slips of paper, things like going to a new cafe, visiting the local park at sunset, or playing a board game instead of watching television. Once a week, they'd pull a slip from the jar and do whatever it said. They told me it brought back the same butterflies they used to feel when they were first dating because they never quite knew what was coming next. And that sense of anticipation is one of the key ingredients of romance. Adventure also doesn't always have to be about leaving the house. You can travel in your imagination. 2, maybe read the same book together and then talk about it, or cook a dish from a country you've always wanted to visit. When you create these little moments of novelty, you reignite a sense of playfulness. And let's be honest, love isn't just about deep talks and quiet moments. It's also about laughter, silliness, and joy. Those are the sparks that keep the flame alive. And once you've added a dash of adventure, there's another piece of the puzzle that often gets overlooked but is just as powerful: physical affection. Now, don't get shy on me here. I'm not just talking about intimacy in the bedroom, although that can certainly still be very meaningful. I'm talking about the everyday gestures of touch that say, without words, I'm here and I love you. Holding hands while you're walking, putting your arm around your partner while sitting on the couch, or giving a gentle back rub after a long day, these small actions have a huge impact on emotional closeness. As we get older, sometimes touch becomes less frequent. Maybe health challenges or old habits make us pull away a little. But here's the truth. The human body never stops craving connection through touch. A hug releases oxytocin, the so-called bonding hormone, which lowers stress and makes us feel safe. A kiss, even a quick peck on the cheek, can light up the same parts of the brain as when you were first in love. These gestures may seem simple, but they carry the weight of love, comfort, and belonging. Think back to the days when you first met. Remember how you couldn't keep your hands off each other? How natural it felt to reach out and hold hands without even thinking. That instinct hasn't disappeared, it's just waiting for you to bring it back. Start small. The next time you're walking together, slip your hand into theirs. Or when you sit down to dinner, place your hand gently over theirs for a moment before eating. These little signals whisper, "You're not just my roommate. You're still my partner, my love." And physical affection doesn't have to stop at gestures. It can also be about creating an environment of comfort. Maybe you snuggle up with a blanket and watch a movie together, or sit on the porch swing on a warm evening. These quiet, close moments build intimacy just as much as words do. And here's a little secret: sometimes it's the unexpected touches, like brushing a strand of hair from your partner's face, or kissing the back of their hand, that leave the deepest impression. I remember one gentleman in his 60s sharing how his wife surprised him by simply rubbing his shoulders one evening while he read the newspaper. He said it was such a small act, but it made him feel cared for in a way he hadn't realized he was missing. He started returning the gesture, and before long, that simple habit of touch became a language of love that rekindled their closeness in ways they hadn't felt for years. Adventure and affection are like two sides of the same coin. One brings excitement and energy, while the other builds comfort and connection. Together, they remind you both that romance isn't something reserved for the young. It's alive and well whenever two people choose to nurture it. And when you weave these elements into your relationship, you'll find that the spark not only comes back, but grows even stronger. Because it's rooted in years of shared life, laughter, and memories. Now, with time, attention, appreciation, a sense of fun, and the warmth of touch. There's still one more beautiful way to deepen the romance after 60, one that ties everything together and helps you look forward with hope and joy. When you've opened your heart to more time together, spoken words of appreciation, added a touch of adventure, and rediscovered the power of physical closeness, the stage is set for one more powerful step. This last piece is about creating shared meaning for the future. Because no matter your age, love isn't just about what you've already lived, it's about what you're still looking forward to. Together, it's easy to believe that after 60, the biggest chapters of life have already been written. The kids are grown, the career is winding down, and the routines are well established. But here's the truth that so many forget. Love doesn't stop growing just because you've reached a certain birthday. In fact, it may be even richer now because of everything you've walked through. And that richness is exactly why creating new dreams together can be so powerful. Those dreams don't have to be grand or complicated. They can be as simple as deciding to plant a small garden together in the spring, planning a road trip to visit places you've always talked about, or setting a goal of trying a new hobby as a team. Some couples even choose to volunteer together, turning their shared time into an opportunity to give back. What matters most isn't the size of the goal. It's the fact that it's something you've chosen together. Shared dreams give your love a direction. They give you both a reason to look forward, not just back. One couple I met had been married for over 45 years. They told me that when their children moved away, they felt a little lost, like the story was over. But then they made a list of 5 places they'd never visited, and every year, they picked one. Some were close by, some were far away. But each trip gave them new memories and stories to share. They said it felt like falling in love all over again, because instead of sitting still, they were moving forward together with purpose. Creating shared meaning can also be about rituals, the little traditions that belong only to the two of you. Maybe it's Friday night pizza on the porch, a Sunday morning walk through the park, or a special song you play every anniversary. These traditions, no matter how small, build a sense of belonging. They say, "This is our life. This is our love story." And even when the world changes around you, those rituals anchor your relationship in something steady and meaningful. Now, I want to pause here for a moment Because sometimes when people hear advice like this, they think it's too late for us. We've been distant for too long. If that's how you feel, I want you to hear this clearly. It is never too late to rekindle love. Romance isn't about age, it's about choice. And every single day you wake up, you have the chance to choose your partner again. It doesn't take a miracle. It starts with the smallest gestures, a smile, a word of thanks, a hand reaching across the table. One spark leads to another, and before you know it, the fire is glowing again. Imagine what it could feel like 6 months from now if you started today. Imagine more laughter echoing through the house, more evenings spent close together instead of drifting apart, more joy in the ordinary moments. These aren't fantasies, they're the natural result of choosing to nurture the relationship you already have. And isn't that the most beautiful gift you could give yourself and your partner at this stage of life? Romance after 60 isn't about recreating the past, it's about building a present and future that feel alive, connected, and meaningful. The spark may look different than it did when you were 20, but in many ways, it's even more precious now. Because now you know how fragile life can be, how quickly time passes, and how valuable it is to cherish every moment. So as you sit here listening, maybe with your partner beside you, maybe on your own, I want to encourage you to take just one small step today. Reach for their hand. Tell them you love them out loud. Suggest something new to try together. Or simply smile at them with the same warmth you had on the day you first met. Those little actions are the seeds of romance, and they grow when you choose to water them day by day. And before we wrap up, let me leave you with this thought. Love is not something you fall into once and then keep forever without effort. It's something you grow, nurture, and tend like a garden. At 60, 70, or even 80, you are still the gardener of your relationship. With a little care, patience, and joy, you can make it bloom in ways that surprise you both. If this conversation has touched you, I'd love for you to share your own story. What's one small thing you and your partner do to keep the spark alive? Leave it in the comments below, because your words might inspire someone else who needs it. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more conversations about living and loving fully at every age. Here's to rekindling, not just romance, but also hope, laughter, and joy. Because love doesn't get weaker with time, it gets wiser, deeper, and stronger if you let it. And no matter how many candles are on your birthday cake, there's always room for more light, more warmth, and more love in your life. Sometimes the most powerful romance doesn't come from doing something big or extraordinary. It comes from slowing down, from savoring the little details that are so easy to overlook. After all, what is love if not a collection of small moments strung together like pearls on a necklace? Think about the way your partner laughs when they're truly amused, the warmth of their hand when you hold it, the sound of their footsteps when they walk into the room. These are treasures, ordinary treasures that, when noticed, become extraordinary. And choosing to see them again is one of the most romantic acts of all. I often hear people say, "We've already said everything there is to say. What more is left?" But that's not really true, is it? People are always changing, always carrying new thoughts, feelings, and memories. Sometimes, romance is simply the decision to become curious again. To ask your partner questions as if you're still getting to know them. You could ask, "What's something you've never told me about your childhood?" Or "What's one place you've always dreamed of visiting?" These questions open doors. They remind both of you that there's still so much to explore in one another, even after decades together. And let's not forget the role of playfulness. Who says romance has to be serious all the time? In fact, some of the most powerful connections are built in laughter, teasing each other gently, sharing inside jokes, dancing in the kitchen, or even trying something silly like learning a TikTok dance together. These playful moments don't just lighten the mood, they bond you in ways words can't. Play keeps love young, no matter how old you are. There's also the matter of forgiveness. At this stage in life, many couples carry scars, arguments from years past, disappointments, or regrets, and those old wounds can quietly dim the spark if they're never healed. Rekindling romance sometimes means letting go, not just of past mistakes your partner made, but of the expectations that things should always look perfect. Romance thrives in grace, saying, I know we've had our rough patches, but I still choose you, and I always will, can be one of the most freeing and healing statements in a relationship. It clears space for love to bloom again, stronger than before. And while we're on the subject of healing, let's touch on self-love for just a moment. Because romance isn't only about what you give to your partner, it's also about what you bring as an individual. Taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually makes you feel more alive. And that energy spills into the relationship. Maybe it's walking every morning, dressing up a little even when you're just at home, or pursuing a hobby that makes you glow from the inside out. When you feel good about yourself, your partner notices. That sparkle in your eyes becomes part of the romance you share. One woman in her late 60s told me that after years of feeling invisible, she decided to start painting again, something she had always loved. The joy it gave her transformed the way she carried herself. Her husband noticed. He told her one day, I feel like I'm falling in love with you all over again. And all she had done was return to something that made her feel whole. That's the beauty of self-love. It doesn't take away from your partner. It enriches the love you share. Romance also grows when you create moments of intentional surprise. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It could be making your partner's favorite meal on a random Tuesday, putting fresh flowers on the table, or slipping a little note in their pocket. Surprise whispers, I thought of you. You are still special to me. And when you both take turns surprising each other, it creates a delightful rhythm of giving and receiving that keeps love alive and playful. But perhaps the most profound part of rekindling romance is the recognition that every day is a gift. When you've lived long enough, you know how precious time is. You've seen friends or loved ones go. You've felt the weight of loss. And that awareness can either make you bitter or it can make you cherish each moment even more. Choosing romance is choosing gratitude. It's saying, I don't want to waste the days we have left being distant or distracted. I want to spend them loving you fully. That's the kind of mindset that transforms not only a relationship, but an entire life. So picture this, you and your partner, years from now, looking back at this very season. What will you remember? Will it be the quiet evenings when you rediscovered how to laugh together? The road trips where you felt like teenagers again? The late night talks that reminded you why you chose each other in the first place? Those memories aren't waiting for someone else to create them. They're waiting for you, right now, to reach for your partner's hand and begin again. And if you're listening to this and you don't currently have a partner, I want you to know this. The same principles apply to you. Romance doesn't only live between two people, it lives inside of you. You can still cultivate joy, connection, adventure, and tenderness in your own life. And who knows, sometimes when you begin living with that open-hearted spirit, love finds its way back to you in surprising ways. Love after 60 isn't about age. It isn't about the wrinkles on your face or the years on the calendar. It's about spirit. It's about two people saying, even now, even here, I choose love. And when you choose it, day after day, it grows into something far deeper than what you had in your 20s. It becomes steady, patient, and strong like a flame that no storm can put out. So let me leave you with this invitation. Tonight, do one thing, just one that makes your partner feel loved. It doesn't matter what it is. A word, a touch, a surprise, a smile. That single act can open a door, and behind that door is a whole world of romance waiting to be rediscovered. Here's to second chances, to fresh starts, and to the beautiful truth that romance has no age limit. It is never too late, and it's always, always worth it.